You're listening to the Connected Health Podcast, where we bring together the science of functional health, the strategy of sustainable habits, and the wisdom of your body to help you feel vibrant, strong, and empowered. I'm your host, Vanessa Cohn, an integrative health practitioner, nutrition coach, and a personal trainer and owner of Connected Habits Coaching. I help men and women heal from the inside out using personalized strategies rooted in hormone health, metabolism, and healthy habits using root cause approaches. If you ever felt like learning to be healthy is a large undertaking, this show will help you discover and learn those healthy habits so that you can reconnect to your body, rebalance your systems, and reclaim your health. Let's dive in. If you've ever been told that your period problems are just part of being a woman, this episode is for you. Pain, mood swings, fatigue, irritability might be common, but that doesn't make them normal and healthy. Today, I'll walk you through the 4 phases of the female menstrual cycle, the key hormone shifts that occur in each of those cycles, the key hormone shifts that should be happening, what's actually happening for most women, and how to support your body naturally. We'll also talk about how hormonal birth control works, why it may be contributing to hormone-related symptoms, and how testing and nutrition can change everything. Meet your main sex hormones. We have estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and DHEA. We'll talk a little bit about each of these today and how they play a role in your menstrual cycle. So the first one we'll talk about is estrogen. There are 3 types of estrogen, but the most predominant one when we talk about female hormone cycles is estradiol, or E2. It builds the uterine lining. It helps to improve your mood. It increases your libido. It boosts your energy, and it supports your brain and your bone health. Progesterone, the antithesis almost of estrogen, is the more calming hormone. It's anti-anxiety. It helps to support sleep, helps to regulate your cycle, and works to balance estrogen. Testosterone, more present in men, but women do have a small amount, and it can get a little weird when that amount is either too high or too low. It supports your libido, your drive, your energy, and motivation, and it helps you build that muscle. And DHEA is a precursor to a lot of sex hormones. It can be converted to any of the 3: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. It's really important for aging, resilience, and immunity. We won't talk too much about it, but it is important. These hormones don't work by themselves. They work together to give you your mood and your cycle shifts. A healthy menstrual cycle has 4 phases. And I'm sad to say that most women aren't taught this information about their body, or it's really glossed over when they take any sort of sex ed or maybe nutritional courses in school. So it kind of leads people to later in life discovering, oh, I have hormone dysfunction. And it all comes down to this very basic cycle. We call a healthy cycle the 5th vital sign, because in women, when the cycle is normal and healthy, other systems of the body can be normal and healthy as well. It's a vital sign, just like your pulse is, your blood pressure, and all of that. Starting in phase 1, a healthy cycle has about 28 to 35 days. Phase 1 is your menstrual cycle. Day 1 is the first day that you bleed. Your hormone levels are all dropping. Your estrogen is low, your progesterone is low. And the goal of that is to shed the uterine lining. Your follicular phase is next from days 6 to 12. Estrogen is starting to rise. Your follicular stimulating hormone also starts to rise, and a follicle develops in preparation for an egg to be fertilized. At this point, progesterone is still pretty low. This whole point of the follicular phase is to prepare the body for ovulation. You know it's out of whack when you're having low energy, low motivation, and your periods are delayed. Ovulation is the middle of the cycle. It's the whole point of the cycle. The luteinizing hormone will rise, triggering what's called an egg release. And this is your time of fertilization. Usually the hormone level, estrogen is going to be at its highest. Testosterone is going to be a quick surge really high to give you that energy, motivation, and drive. And progesterone also starts to rise to get ready for the second half of your cycle. This is what a healthy cycle looks like. This is the main event, the big kahuna. If ovulation doesn't happen, your progesterone won't rise, and that's where cycle problems begin. After ovulation, the halfway point, we call that the luteal phase. That's the second half of your cycle, where progesterone, or your calming sex hormone, is dominating in a healthy cycle. Estrogen dips and then rises slightly again towards the end, and testosterone is going to be declining throughout the luteal phase. The goal of this is to maintain that uterine lining in case the egg is fertilized to support pregnancy. And this is where a lot of women find issues with PMS symptoms like irritability, breast tenderness, cramping, insomnia, even spotting. Because the luteal phase takes up most of the cycle, when progesterone is not there in enough amounts, this is where estrogen dominance will start to show, giving you those nasty PMS symptoms. We've normalized PMS dysfunction, but all of the symptoms are actually red flags. And again, just because something is common among a lot of people does not make it normal, and it does not make it healthy. Let me give you some examples. Number one is going to be severe cramps so bad that require some sort of medication. Some people do some sort of aspirin or Midol. Some people have cramps that are absolutely nauseating and debilitating. Bloating so bad that you look pregnant. Mood swings that are intense of rage, anxiety, feeling like the world is ending. Breast tenderness, acne, even spotting, migraines, extreme fatigue, diarrhea, or constipation before your period, and irregular cycles or an absence of a cycle. So we've gone over what a healthy, normal cycle looks like, what are common symptoms of an unhealthy cycle. And I wanted to pivot and talk a little bit about how hormonal birth control has affected the female cycle and how hormonal birth control affects hormone production. Many women are told when they're given hormonal birth control, they're given it as a solution, saying that it'll help regulate your hormones, when that's not what it does. What it actually does is it shuts down hormone production. It stops hormone production, or it blocks the reception of a hormone. Most forms of hormonal birth control, there can be pills, patches, injectables, shots. All of those have the main goal of suppressing ovulation so that a woman cannot get pregnant. But ovulation is the main event of a cycle, and the presence of ovulation is an indicator of a healthy cycle and a healthy hormonal system. When you suppress what's natural and healthy, stuff starts to happen. Your brain becomes more disconnected from your ovaries. There is a system of your brain connecting to the ovaries, and hormonal birth control shuts off that connection. Your brain cannot adequately signal your hormones to do what it needs to do. And there's no natural estrogen or progesterone being made because that communication is shut down. Instead, some of these hormonal birth control methods will give you synthetic versions of the hormone, which don't do what the actual hormone does. It doesn't take the place of it. It doesn't replace it. It shuts down the communication, and it puts something artificial in there in place that can mess things up. If you do experience a period on a pill or on hormonal birth control, it's a withdrawal bleed and not a genuine menstrual cycle. And if you're on these things for too long, you're going to have some issues like hormonal imbalances that are more permanent, infertility, progesterone deficiency, gut dysbiosis. Many people are not told that hormonal birth control can deplete a lot of really important nutrients, not just for your energy and function, but for women who want to get off a pill and get pregnant eventually. There's important minerals and vitamins that are depleted by birth control. Some of them will affect your mood, they'll affect your libido, they'll bring in some mental health struggles, and some of them can cause weight gain. Because these are hormonally based, it will affect the connection of all of the hormones. In previous episodes, and I want to drive this over and over and over again, things in the body are connected. So if one thing's out of whack, it's going to cause a cascade of effects on other systems. So people on hormonal birth control will experience things going with their metabolism, their thyroid, and other systems in the body. But all of this doesn't mean you have to come off of birth control, but you do need to be made aware of the risks and the benefits of them. You deserve to know what it's doing. Sometimes we're given a solution from a medical provider and it seems to help for a while, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it makes things worse, or maybe you're on it for a long time and it's secretly depleting your body and you don't know until it's too late and you're trying to get pregnant later and it's causing problems. There's so much more infertility than there used to be, and I can maybe make another episode about that whole concept. But I truly believe that the over prescribing of things like hormonal birth control, coupled with everything going on in the world and toxicity and environmental issues, has contributed to the high rates of infertility today. Now, no matter where you're at in your cycle, there is a way to help rebalance that. We've talked about what normal looks like, what common but not normal looks like. We've talked about the risks of hormonal birth control and what it actually does to the body. And I wanted to give you some natural methods to balance your cycle if you're wanting to do that. I want to remind you that anytime your body is experiencing symptoms, it's a sign that your body is trying to tell you something. Something is out of balance. And when we pay attention to those signs, we can help bring the body back into balance. If you feel like something's off in your cycle, I do recommend some things that you can do. One of the things you can do is do some hormonal testing. You can test your blood, or you can test through salivary methods, spitting into a tube and getting those levels tested. You can track your cycle, even if your cycle is unpredictable. I use the Clue app, but there are other apps that you can download on your phone to keep track of what your cycles are, what day your period starts, what day that it ends, any of the symptoms that you have day to day. And it gives you a great summary of data to look back on and see if there are any trends or if it's all just out of whack. It likes to give you information on average, how long your cycle is and what your most common symptoms are. And coupled with the testing, that'll give you a lot of information of where your hormones are at which point in their cycle. And you want to take note that if you are doing a hormone test, whether salivary or through blood, you want to test it at certain times. Nutritionally, you can support a healthy cycle, especially focusing on anti-inflammatory foods. If you do have a lot of cramping and uncomfortable pain, increase your consumption of omega-3 rich food. I like to recommend eating healthy fish and avocados. I really like to have salmon and sardines at least twice a week. And I've noticed a significant decrease in the severity of my cramps and other symptoms. Focus on protein-rich foods. And nutritionally, you can support your cycle by eating protein-rich meals and supporting your minerals by eating zinc and making sure you're getting all of your vitamins and minerals through natural foods like vegetables and fruits and whole foods sources overall. Another thing you can work on is balancing your blood sugar. Blood sugar balance will also help your hormone balance overall. To help detox estrogen, I want you to increase your consumption of a category of vegetables called the brassica family, cruciferous vegetables, stuff like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, Brussels sprouts. All of those are really good, especially in the middle and second half of your cycle to help detox that estrogen. And make sure you're eating enough food. If your body is not fed enough calories, it'll stress your body out, affect your ability to ovulate, and cause a whole cascade of other issues. Lifestyle-wise, if you wanted to help your cycle out, don't overtrain. Make sure you fuel your body well enough to sustain any physical activity that you're doing without starving yourself. It's okay to take a step back and focus on your mental health and your physical health. Do the breath work, relax, walk, just sit and exist. You don't have to push yourself so much. And make sure you're getting enough sleep. With enough sleep, your body can recover and your hormones can be better produced. One of my coaching programs is specifically geared towards women with hormonal imbalances, and it's called the Radiant Women Reset. One of the things that we focus on there is correcting hormonal imbalances, especially when it comes to the cycle and making the menstrual cycle more pleasant than it is unpleasant. We do hormone testing, and with that data, we look at correcting hormonal imbalances through nutrition changes, lifestyle changes, habit changes, targeted supplementation, and coaching and support through that whole process. My goal as a coach is to empower women to understand the body and not fight against it. I hear women say, my body hates me when they're experiencing any sort of turmoil or uncomfortable situation. And your body doesn't hate you. Your body's trying to get your attention, say, hey, something's going on. Can you please help? It's not fighting against you. It is signaling you. And my goal is to teach and empower my clients to listen to those calls for help and give the body what it needs. When you support the body, you'll restore a natural menstrual flow, have a healthy ovulation, regulate your periods, reduce PMS symptoms, and rebalance your sex hormones. Your period is essentially a vital sign. If your body is trying to tell you something, you should listen to it. If you've got some hormonal chaos going on, I recommend that you take my free hormone assessment. You can find it in the show notes or the description box. You can also find it by following me on social media at Connected Habits Coaching. I'll have that in my links in the bio if you wanted to take that test. If you have questions and want some support, join the free Facebook group Connected Habits, a community for holistic and sustainable health. If you want to learn more about my women's coaching program, Radiant Women Reset, you can head to my website, connectedhabits.com/radiant-woman-reset. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Connected Health Podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, it would mean the world to me if you liked, subscribed, and shared this episode with someone you know that could use this information. Remember, your body isn't broken, it's just asking to be seen. I'll see you next time.